What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to another Wednesday here with Drin, where we discuss music and life.
Can't fuck with me when I'm in my element. Everything that I've been hustling.
So I'm not gonna lie, they got construction going on in the unit below me. So if you hear a drill, a hammer, a wall falling, just bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. Today I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna hit y'all with a story time because I think it's important that I share with y'all so you feel comfortable sharing with me. I wanna share a story with you guys about a very, very toxic relationship that I was in about 6 or 7 years ago and how that relationship completely changed my life. Before I go any further, I just want everybody to take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It'll mean a great deal to me and it'll help push some positivity into YouTube, and we need it. I'm not gonna give too much detail because I have a feeling that some of you who follow me know who I'm talking about because I haven't been in that many relationships. So what I'm gonna do is just post a couple of pictures so you can see exactly who I'm talking about. I'm joking, why would I do that? Y'all was waiting on it too. Messy. Nah, but really, it was a very toxic relationship. One would say, how do you know it was toxic? Well, for one, I wasn't happy. We weren't happy. We wanted to be happy. You know, we had been together about 3 years at this point. And when you spent so much time with someone, anything but a successful relationship feels like failure. I didn't want to leave that relationship because it was familiar to me. And because we had done so much together, it just felt like I was gonna have to start my whole life over if I left that relationship. So just fear of failure, fear of starting over, all of these things kept me there. But I knew it was toxic. How else did I know? Because I was toxic. I had so much childhood trauma that I didn't deal with. And the crazy thing is, the person that I was dating actually reminded me a lot of my childhood or my parents in a lot of ways, my mom specifically. So I can honestly say I feel like I attracted this relationship to me for sure. And then I brought so many toxic habits and so much toxic behavior to the relationship because I hadn't healed from that. I didn't even understand the importance of healing from trauma before jumping into a relationship because you'll only bring that baggage with you. And there's no way that you guys can survive with all of that negativity going on. So I take responsibility for that. How else did I know it was toxic? We argued all the time. We were always at each other's throats about any and everything. It felt more like a competition than a partnership. And to me, that's a huge red flag. I think the climax of that toxicity had to be a New Year's Eve. All my friends had came to celebrate with me. My ex and I lived together, so of course they were around. And my ex was just behaving weird the whole weekend. You know, that my friends were here. It was like everything was just a problem. And the peak was that night we all went out, and at the club, I was extremely pissed about something. It was so simple. If I remember correctly, we were at the club and my ex had forgotten a jacket or something, and I was just pissed because I'm like, you know, we gotta look for your jacket. We gotta, you know, waste time doing this. I would rather be partying right now. So ex got mad, walked off, couldn't find my ex anywhere. We were downtown, and me and my friends, and we were looking all over. And somehow, just randomly, we ran into my ex walking, and it was like, come on and get in the car. You know, let's get in the car. There's no need in doing all of this. I didn't want to, you know, leave them down there by themselves. So I was like, come on, like, let's go, you know. So they got in the car, we got home, we were in the bedroom, and we started arguing again. And this time it got physical. It ended up being a big debacle because I was trying to put them out of the house. I just wanted the energy away. my thought was just go to your friends. If you know you're this unhappy, just go to your friend's house. Like my ex was like, no, I'm not leaving, and just almost seemed to me like they were determined to argue that night. And my friends were there. Keep this in mind. So we're doing this whole scene, and the police got called. I think what happened was my ex called their friend. Nobody was letting the friend in, so then the friend thought to call the police. So then the police show up, and as I told you, we had gotten physical, so both of us had scratches. And the police was like, this is ridiculous, I'm gonna take you both to jail. They arrested us both, and we stayed, I think this was like early morning when the fight occurred. So we went in probably at like 2 or 3 a.m. and then the next day was New Year's Eve. So we basically spent all of the next day and then that night, which was New Year's Eve night, and then they let us out New Year's Day. My eye was killing me. I had like, my ex had like hit me in the eye or something, and it was just like swollen and red. And I remember seeing my ex and just thinking like, this is ridiculous. This is it. This is out of hand. Like, this is the final straw. Anyways, we got out New Year's Day. I remember my ex trying to talk to me like we was gonna really just be able to go back to normal. And I was just like not having it. My friends came and got me. Can you believe that even after that, we got back together? Yes, we did. We got back together. Keep in mind now, my ex had a kid. So the kid wasn't there this weekend that we got into a fight, but the kid had been around the relationship and saw some of the things that we went through. So that was toxic and embarrassing. I think months went by and it just wasn't the same naturally. There was another situation that came up where I found out that my ex had lied about something that happened like towards the beginning of our relationship. And to me, that was just a gateway to like jump out of there. I didn't need to be a part of that anymore. I knew it, I felt it, you know, my ex felt it, but we were still just trying to hold on and make it last. Me and my ex were living together. We moved to another state together. We'd done so many things together. It just seemed like such a hassle to break up, and it felt like it would be more beneficial to us both if we stayed. By the same token, we knew that we weren't happy at all. After I found out that my ex had lied, just so happened I was playing in this band with a girl who was extremely spiritual, and she was vegan, and she was very positive. Like, her energy was really good, and meeting her kind of gave me a different outlook on life. Like, I don't need to be in this position. I didn't move to this new state to argue and fight and go to jail. I moved here to pursue my music career, and I brought my ex with me thinking that, you know, we could start our life, our new life here as well, but it didn't work out that way. But I just knew it was so much more that I wanted to do besides this. So meeting my new band member, who later became my friend, it just opened my eyes up. I ended up moving out of the house, out of the apartment when we were in a duplex. I ended up moving out of there, and I moved in with my friend, but my friend was actually staying with someone else. So it was a little crowded, and that's another story, because that was crazy too. I felt like my friend wanted something that I didn't want, and I was just too out of it to even pursue anything romantic at the time. So it was just bad timing. And then the person that we were staying with was spiritual, but not really. One day, that lady that we were staying with came to me and said that she felt like my energy was dark, and she felt like I didn't need to be there anymore. So I ended up moving out of there, and at this point I was pretty much homeless. Like, I didn't have anywhere definite to stay. I remember a couple of nights I stayed with one of my other friends. I remember a couple of nights I spent the night at this church that I was playing for. I remember sleeping in my car a few times. It was rough. I don't really tell many people this story, but it was rough. I was going through it, you know. I I'd never been homeless before up until this point, and I didn't really know what to do, but God had me the whole time. There was this guy that I knew, Steve. I gotta give a shout out to Steve because Steve saved my life. He played the sax, and Steve was like, you can come stay with me. I got a house, you know, and you're welcome to come stay in the room. And I was like, what? I mean, this was great for me because it was just a chance to kind of get back on my feet. You know, I had been so thrown off with the breakup and then getting kicked out of the other place for reasons unbeknownst to me. And the lady said my energy was dark. I guess it was, I don't know. So just for Steve, who knew me, but he didn't know me like that, for him to open up his home to me, it really showed me God's grace and showed me how God can work through other people to bless your life. Moved in with Steve, and that's when my life slowly but surely started to change. I remember I started working at this cafe downtown. It was mad popular. It had so much live music going on all the time, and it was just the right... Sorry about the noise, y'all. I told y'all this construction, which I'll let it pass. Okay, it might not pass. Anyway, I was working at this club as a delivery person, and I was also playing music at the club. And the owner, he really took me under his wing, I'm not gonna lie. He looked out for me too. I started teaching lessons, piano lessons to his daughter. And then I was still doing the delivery job and still doing shows. And it was, being in this environment enabled me to get back focused on what was important. I kind of lost myself in that relationship, and I lost my purpose and what I was supposed to be doing, which is music. At this time, we had been in the new city for about a year, and I felt like I hadn't progressed in this city the way that I knew that I should have and wanted to. So this opportunity to move in with Steve and to get this job at this cafe that had all the live music and just teaching lessons and meeting new people, it really saved my life. Fast forward a couple months later, I saved up enough money to rent my own spot, because, you know, staying with Steve was cool, but it was like, it's time to get my own space so that I can really branch out. So I rented this house from this super dope real estate agent named Ed Eakin. That's my boy. Ed, if you're watching this, you my boy. Got a great price for it. Had a backyard, front yard, patio, like 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, washer and dryer, everything. It was just awesome. The neighborhood was ghetto, but the spot was just what I needed at the time. I ended up getting a puppy. That was great. His name is Freedom, pit bull. It was just what I needed at the time. And being in the house, living by myself, which is something that I hadn't experienced for a while because I had been in a relationship, it really opened my mind to spirituality. I just knew that I felt all of this weight and I felt all of this guilt, you know, from failing in my relationship. Now keep in mind, you know how relationships go. You can break up with a person, but even after you break up, you still spend so much time trying to completely rid yourself of that person because naturally you want to go back to what you're familiar with. So we were still kind of going back and forth, but the difference now was that my ex had a spot and I had a spot, so we weren't in the same place. I found this book one day. I wonder if I still have it, but I found this book, and the book was about Krishna consciousness, which is it's a part of Hinduism. And the book was talking about becoming vegan, and, well, not vegan, but not eating meat. They were saying that a great way to cleanse yourself is to not eat that type of food because it weighs you down and makes you heavy, and you take on the emotions and the feelings of the animal that you're eating. And a lot of the animals, as you know, here in America especially, are tortured before they are killed and then fed to us. So I was like, I wonder if I can do this. I decided for 2 weeks that I was gonna not eat meat anymore. 2 weeks. I'm gonna go without meat. This is something that I am a carnivore. I mean, I grew up in the South. We eating chitlins and pork rinds and pig feet. It doesn't matter. All the cow, all the everything. This was a new experience for me, but I was like, I'm gonna try it for 2 weeks. Also, during this process, while I was reading the book, I found a temple, a Krishna consciousness temple, and it changed my life. So at the temple, you could go, and they had multiple meditations every single day. They also had a restaurant, vegetarian of course, that I would eat at frequently, and they actually gave free food after each meditation. So I was at this temple every single day, almost, just hours at a time. So 2 weeks of no eating meat turned into a month, which turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, and it just turned into a lifestyle, because I noticed that with me not eating the meat, I felt so much lighter. Like literally, so much weight was lifted from me just from giving that up. I can't explain how incredible this was for me, because I always felt so heavy, and I was just looking for a way to remove this baggage. And that brought me to the realization that you literally are what you eat. What you ingest is what you become. So then I started being more specific about everything that I would put into my body, from the music that I listened to, from the TV that I would watch, the shows, from the friends that I had. Everything became about positivity and putting the best in my body. From that, my music career started to take off. I went on tour with a Latin artist, Natalia Jimenez. This was my first time going on a tour, traveling out of the country. It's just an amazing experience. I played to the largest crowd that I think I've ever played to, which was like 120 something thousand people. My whole life was changing right before me. And yeah, I was still talking back and forth to my ex, I'm not gonna lie, but it was different now. You know, I was changing, and I have a feeling that my ex felt that I was changing. So I made the decision that in a few months I was gonna gather up my coins and I was gonna move to LA to pursue music, which I had already wanted to move to LA, but I was afraid to go at first. I was like, it's time now. I felt like I've got myself together, and I feel like I can do this now. A few months passed, and I just left. Like, I didn't hold a party. I didn't do this huge announcement. It was literally like everyone looked up and I had dipped. And the rest is history. I'm here now, and I would like to feel like I've progressed, but I know I still got miles and miles to go. I just wonder sometimes what my life would have been like if I didn't have the courage to walk away from that toxic relationship and to pursue my purpose. Some of you right now that are in relationships that you know aren't making you happy. You have been with this person for so long and you feel indebted to them and to that relationship. You feel like you need to be there because this is all that you know. But I'm here to tell you that if you aren't happy, that's a red flag. Now, if you're married, that's a little different. And I respect marriage a lot. And I don't believe in divorce. Not like that. So if you're married, I think you need to put more effort towards working that out. But if you're in a relationship, boo-boo, you can say bye.
You can say bye-bye.
You don't have to stay in that. You don't have to be trapped in something. If you're arguing all the time, if it gets physical, you're having physical and verbal altercations, especially if there's a child involved, do what's best for that child. Do what's best for you. Do what's best for your partner, and have the strength to let it go, because I can guarantee you your greater is on the other side. You get out of there and you do the work, and your life can change instantly. And I don't care who you are, how old you are, how long you've been doing this and that. You can always change. You can always be more. That's kind of what I wanted to leave with you in this story time. I hope it wasn't too long. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like the video. Please remember to subscribe to this channel because there will be more story times coming your way. I appreciate you so much for watching, and you trust and believe I will be back next Wednesday. Until then, be blessed. Mwah. Peace.